Tomac is back, my dudes. Tea sipping Tomac back at it again. Oh. So, Eli Tomac, the official information just came out that yes, indeed, he will be racing in 2024. This is quite the shocker to me, honestly. I was not expecting him to say that. I thought he was going to totally retire. We got to address the elephant in the room here about all those videos that I just made after Tomac had the ruptured Achilles, talking about Tomac ain't coming back. There's no way. You know what I'm saying? So, let's address that in this video right here, okay? So, yeah, I didn't think Tomac was going to come back at all, just because I didn't think he would go through that, trying to get back to that level, trying to race with Jett Lawrence. You know, you got Webb going to Star Yamaha, okay? But I want to say right here, I still 100%, 420% stand behind, even if Tomac tried to come back, he ain't going to be the same Tomac. I remember saying that specifically in some of those videos. Like, even if he tried to come back, he ain't going to be the same Tomac. And I still completely believe that. All right? And that's the thing. That there's kind of two different ways of saying Tomac is coming back. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people think that when you say something like Tomac's coming back, that means that, you know, you're saying he's going to be on that same sort of level that he was like last year, or what everybody knows Tomac is being, you know what I'm saying? Like a beast mode Tomac, dominant, you know, pretty much expected to win the championship. I just don't think he's going to be like that in 2024. I really don't. I just want to make that really clear. I still totally stick behind that. Now, Tomac is so good, you know, he is the absolute most legend of the legends of this generation of pro motocross riders. I still believe Tomac is good enough to be like a podium guy. You know, he could get a win, but I'm just saying I don't think he's going to be that same Tomac that a lot of you boys remember him being. I really don't. And so that's what I mean by I don't think Tomac's coming back. Even this whole time in the back of my head, sure, I thought that there was a chance of him trying to come back, but like, that's just kind of two different ways of saying it, though. It's like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dudes out there. A good example of this is like Ken Roczen, for instance, right? It's like, yeah, Ken Roczen, after his arm injury, yeah, he tried to come back. You could say Ken Roczen came back, but he was never the same Ken Roczen. You know? He was never that same Ken Roczen from that original Suzuki RCH team where he won that 450 Outdoor Championship. He was never that same guy. I don't care what you say. He just wasn't, you know? But a lot of people would consider Ken Roczen came back from injury. He came back, yada, yada, yada. But I don't really, I mean, yeah, he came back in a certain sense, but he didn't really come back as the same Ken Roczen on the bike. You see what I'm saying? And that's the exact same thing that I think is going to happen here with Eli Tomac. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. A lot of people don't want to believe that. And I'm just as big of a Tomac fan as anybody else. But I'm just saying, that's my opinion on it. That's what I think about it, right? Like, yeah, he can try to come back, but coming back, you know, Tomac coming back and being a 3rd to 5th place kind of guy is a lot different than Tomac coming back and being the same Tomac that he was when he won the Supercross Championship and the Motocross Championship on the same year on that Star Yamaha. That's a big difference, especially with Jett Lawrence, you know, damn near perfect season in pro motocross. You know, you got Webb going to that Star Yamaha. Mark my words right now, I think Webb is going to be better on that Star Yamaha than Eli Tomac is in 2024. I honestly believe that. So it's like, you know, I kind of have to separate those two things in everybody's minds when they think about, you know, Because there is genuinely a lot of people out there that do think that Tomac is going to come back and be the exact same Tomac and go out there and win championships in 2024. I just want to say right now, I'm still totally sticking behind every bit of that I said about he may try to come back, but he ain't going to be the same Tomac. I still totally believe all of that, right? Like, so, you know, you can sit here and say, well, Spencer was so terribly wrong about his predictions and yada, 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 yada. But at the end of the day, it's like we still don't know how Tomac's going to be in 2024. Even Eli Tomac don't even know how he's going to be in 2024. He's never even raced against Jett Lawrence on a 450. He's certainly not really raced against, you know, Cooper Webb on a Star Yamaha on a 450. You saw how close they were in Supercross last year. You know Jett Lawrence is going to be doing everything he can do. Especially if he knows Eli Tomac's coming back. He wants that chance to beat Tomac in a championship. I mean, it's just like, I just don't see it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not seeing it as far as Tomac being on that same dominance level that you know him to be. I don't see that happening at all in 2024. But with me saying that, it's not like I'm saying Tomac's going to be a 10th to 15th place kind of guy. I never thought he would be like that. But with, you know, I just want to make that clear, even with all them videos I made before and all that, even in the back of my mind, I still thought Tomac could try to come back and still be like a 3rd to 5th place kind of guy. I even think I said that in one of those videos, but I just didn't think he would have went through the trouble to begin with. But I always thought he could attempt to come back and be a 3rd to 5th place kind of guy. You know, there's a big difference between like people that thought he couldn't even come back after those injuries and people that thought he could try to come back but didn't think he would go through the effort to try to come back. You see what I'm saying? Those are kind of like two different things. And there's also two different things when you talk about Tomac's going to come back and be the same guy that you know him to be, or Tomac's going to come back and be like 80% of the guy that you know that he can be. That's more what I'm thinking. He's going to come back and be more like 80% of that Tomac you remember him being, you know, last year and shit, right? And even this year in Supercross before the injury. So you can say that I was so wrong with my predictions and this and that, but I'm still totally sticking behind it, man. I really am. And by the way, let's just, you know, I didn't get the T-Sipper Predictor name for no reason, okay? We're still like 420 to 1 when it comes to predictions that I've gotten right versus predictions that I've gotten wrong, all right? But I am still human. I know it's easy to think I'm an alien and shit with, you know, how many predictions I can get right, but, you know, I am still human. You know, I'm just guessing. With a lot of these things that I say, I'm just guessing. But I think a lot of people just read the titles of my videos. You know, even like with my Deegan Overhyped Pro Supercross debut titled video, they think I was trying to just say Deegan's overhyped for his whole career. You know, people will read a title and then they just add their own context to it, and that's kind of the thing, right? Even with my Tomac ain't coming back sort of titles, you know what I mean? I felt like a lot of people were thinking in their head that I thought he just couldn't even try to come back even if he wanted to, right? And that's not ever what I was saying. Obviously, Eli Tomac's on that level, and it's the perfect example is that same comparison to like Ken Roczen. It's the same difference. It's like Roxon's so good, he can have such a bad, you know, injury where they damn near have to amputate his entire arm and still come all the way back and still win main events. But you know, that's totally different than Ken Roczen coming back and being that same Ken Roczen that he was before that arm injury. You see what I mean? That's a totally different animal. That's what I was trying to get at making those videos talking about Tomac ain't coming back. What I really meant was he just ain't ever going to come back and be the same Tomac. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say with that, right? But, you know, we're just not going to know till we see it. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't even gotten back on the bike yet. I don't know. I mean, There's just no way. Even if he didn't have the ruptured Achilles, it'd be a hard thing for me to wrap my head around Tomac just being super dominant over Jett Lawrence in Supercross in 2024. Even if he didn't even have the injuries, okay? And you still got Chase Sexton there. We think he's going to be going to KTM. Not really sure how that's going to turn out, but I certainly think Cooper Webb going to Star Yamaha is going to just make Cooper Webb better, especially after all of the, politics around him leaving KTM and shit, bro. He's going to be trying to prove I can do this shit on this Star Yamaha, that I did all my winnings on my 250 career. Cooper Webb's going to be going for it after he lost that Supercross championship the way that he did. You know what I mean? You see what you smelling what Spency Boy's stepping in right now, Even if Tomac didn't even have them injuries, I just don't think he's going to have the same sort of dominance level that he had last year or the year before. I'm just not seeing that at all. I mean, the best case scenario I see happening for Tomac right now is like, instead of him going out as I almost won that last Supercross championship, then had a weird freak ruptured Achilles injury, instead of him retiring on that note, I feel like he's basically just trying to come out and be, somewhat of a championship contender his last year. You know what I'm saying? Like 2024 or maybe even 2025. He just wants to come out and be somewhat competitive again and then retire on that sort of a note versus retiring on the ruptured Achilles note. I think that's all he's really shooting for. I don't even think he's really thinking he's going to be the same dominant level that he was this year or last year. You see what I'm saying? I don't even think he's thinking that. I mean, I do think he said, like, in the interview that he thinks he can be competitive. Yeah, I mean, I thought Tomac could be, quote-unquote competitive this whole time, even with the injuries, because he's fucking Eli Tomac. You know what I mean? We're not talking about, fucking Ricky Bobby out here. Like, this is Eli Tomac. You know what I'm saying? I mean, damn. But I just want to make that clear. I never thought that Tomac just couldn't come back. I just didn't think he would try to come back. That's the big difference right there. I always thought he could try to come back, but I'm still sticking behind he ain't gonna be the same Tomac even when he tries to come back, right? So really at the end of the day, it ain't so far off as what you might think if you just read the titles and you didn't really watch all my videos, you didn't really listen to everything that I said, right? I said all that in those videos, but, a lot of people like to just read titles and say, "Ha, you're so wrong, bro," yada, 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 right? So we'll see, bro. We'll see what Tomac can do. I hope he proves me wrong, by the way. I just want to make that clear. And this whole time, I was hoping that Tomac did try to come back. I just didn't think he would try to come back, but I was hoping he would the whole time. And I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he goes out there and smokes their ass in 24. That would be awesome. That would be amazing. I just don't think it's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm getting at. I just have to still say that, like, I totally stick behind all of that actual detailed information that I was saying in those Tomac videos. I still stick behind every bit of it. Still don't think he's going to be the same guy. He can try to come back, but he ain't going to be the same guy. Still stick behind every bit of it. So, either way, definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think. It's going to be fun to watch. Tomac going to make this shit interesting, at least, nonetheless, That is going to be insane seeing Cooper Webb and Tomac on the same team. I was not expecting that at all. Like, just at all. Wasn't expecting it at all, bro. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. You know what I mean? We gonna see.